Well, hello, shell buddies, and welcome back to the Ashway Bijou channel. This week is going to be holiday coastal crafting with Mitch. Take a good look at this introduction so you can see what it is we're going to make. Have you ever heard of that lady? What is her name? Sandra D, I think. Sandra D something. The semi-homemade dinner. Well, we're going to be doing kind of semi-homemade holiday gifts that you can give, you can decorate your own home with, whatever. Cool coastal vibes, most of them very easy to accomplish, and will help you use up some of those shells that you have in your stash. We're going to make some fun beach signs. Going to modify 2 of them to customize them out and make them really cute. We're going to make a whole bunch of ornaments. We're going to make a clock, and we're going to make some really nice candlestick holders. This video is going to be a little bit longer than a shelling trip, but that's okay because you're going to be sitting right alongside next to me as if we were in the same craft room working on things together. So let's take a look at the projects, then we'll talk about materials and some of the things you'll want to round up, then we'll dive right in and go have some fun. So here's a couple of plain little beach signs that I found over in the coastal decor area. And I've transformed that beach one into that one you see there in the center and into this one here, Happy by the Sea. I also found this really cool ocean-faced clock that was in there. Took it apart, added some shells on all of the numbers. Oh, I love it. These cute, adorable little buttons have turned into nativity set ornaments that are made out of Sunray Venus clams, raffia, something to hang them with, and of course the little buttons. So these came in these really pretty 4-color assortment that were nice and oceany and still holiday-like. And I'm going to take these plain globes and I'm going to turn them into these adorable little mermaid ornaments. Oh my gosh, aren't these just the cutest things ever? I am so in love with these. I think they're adorable. Now, almost everything that I use in this video is available at Hobby Lobby, Michael's, Joann's, that kind of stuff. But most of what I got here was at Hobby Lobby. No, I am not sponsored by them. They didn't give me supplies. They don't give me money. It just happens to be that I was grooving on some of the stuff that I found in there, and it gave me tons and tons of ideas. So, for the first project that we do, which is the 2 beach signs, and for the candle holders, you can find those in the coastal decor area that they have in the store. For the ornaments, you can find the buttons on one of the end caps toward the back of the store where all of the card making materials and the kids' craft supplies are. For the, let's see, the other ornaments, you're going to need a set of those shatterproof plastic balls, which can be found in their ornament area. And then, of course, I use Gorilla. My glue gun and my glue sticks are both Gorilla. They don't give me money either. I just like their stuff. It works great. You can find that with the hot glue items. What else? Ribbon, of course, you can find over in the Fabrics and Notions area. And I think that's about pretty much covers most of everything. Oh, the taper candles. You can find those over in their candle area too. They have the tapers and they have the jars, they have the pillars, all kinds of stuff. So roam around in there a little bit with some of your shells that you might want to use and just see what ideas come to you, because that's kind of how I did it. Be sure to take a look in the beading area for a bead scoop. It's a little metal thing about this long, and it's cupped kind of like this, and it comes to a tapered point at one end. That thing is fantastic for removing extra hot glue that you don't want on things. And I'm also trying out a new ring light / phone holder that's much sturdier than what I had before. And I'd actually gotten this thing right before Helene came, and I didn't even have a chance to use it until now. So you'll have to let me know what you think about the top-down view and being able to see in that. Just let me know in the comments. Hobby Lobby has some really, really cute stuff for making what I call a semi-homemade gift, where part of the work is done for you and you can add your own personalization touches to it to really dress it up and make it cute. And one of the examples we're going to do here is I've got a couple of these beach signs, okay? Now this one, beach is my happy place. This one is meant to stand on a table. See, it's flat in there. I already pulled that price tag out of that. And you can paint the inside of this. You can pull this off. You can trim this out with scrapbook paper in the back. If it's going to be, sitting on a desk, you don't have to leave the back rough like that. You can also put a hanger on it if you want to put it on the wall. This one, Happy by the Sea, is meant to be hung on the wall. See, it's got that little hanger right there. Again, I pulled that tag off. And again, you can paint or paper the inside of this, or you can even put some felt or ribbon around the back if it is going to be on a wall so it doesn't leave any scuff marks or anything like that. But these are pretty basic and pretty plain, and yeah, they're beachy, but they're not over beachy. They're a little under beachy, if you ask me. I think if you dress these up a little bit, they'll make gorgeous little gifts for the sheller or beach person in your holiday world. Let's start with the beach is my happy place. Now, this is cute the way it is, but my idea is to take some shells. And these are some of our popular littles that we have that we're known for here in Florida. Got a jujube top snail and a button, a chestnut turban, a limpet, a little cone, a little fighting conch, a little drill, a little baby moon, and a bubble. So these, what I'd like to do is set them around the bottom somehow. I'm not really positive exactly yet how they're going, but I've got some vertical and some that are meant to be horizontal. So that'll be fun for putting on the bottom. And then along the top, I could put some more tiny shells if I wanted to. I have some of these adorable little Campeche angel wings. And they would be really cute up here. Or I can dress this up and instead of putting shells top and bottom. And up here on the top, I can trim this with some of the pearls. Or if you have rhinestones and you prefer rhinestone trim, you can use that as well. But look how cute that is across the top. Then with some shells in the bottom and maybe a little pop of color. I don't know, we'll see. Also, I think beach is very plain. So my plan for beach is I want to color it with this pretty bluey green paint marker, and we'll see how it looks with some color applied to it. Let's do that first so that it gets a chance to dry. Now this is got a little bit of roughness to it. There's a little bit of sawdusty kind of stuff around here. That's okay. If you can just get it off a little bit, great. If not, it's not going to hurt anything. All right, so let's see how does this paint soak into this wood. And I'm also not going to go crazy worrying about the sides. I'm just going on the top here. Oh, I like how that blue was kind of translucent and it makes it look more aqua with a little shimmer. That's very oceany. How nice. So, yep, first thing first, we're going to just color our word. All right, so we'll just fast forward through some of this, the coloring over with the paint pen. You get the idea here what I'm doing. Take your time, you don't have to rush, just get it all done. I sort of wondered if it was going to suck it all up and I would, like I would need a second coat or something maybe, but I'm honestly loving that see-through. That's really fun. And it shows the wood grain. And it alters the color a little bit so that it makes it still match because the wood is sort of coming through. Oh yeah, I like how that came out. Oh, look how that looks just like our water around here. Oh my gosh, and it's got that glitter to it too. Very subtle, but perfect. I love that. Okay. Well, then I guess let's put the pearls in next. And the question is, the small ones or the big ones? Well, big, I suppose, is a relative term, but... And of course, if you're making this for somebody that doesn't like the pearls, you can just eliminate this step altogether. I think I like these bigger ones better. I think those look nicer. I'm going to hold them right into that corner because I'm sure this isn't going to work out perfectly, is it? No, see, it's just a scooch bit too long, and that pearl wants to pop up, so that's how I know now where I need to cut it. There we go. It's just about perfect. Better get out a glue stick or two while I'm thinking about it. There's nothing worse than trying to glue something and running out right in the middle. And I'm a little low. Now, I don't know if you guys have noticed this before, but I'm a Gorilla Girl. No, I'm not sponsored and they don't pay me. It'd be nice, but they don't. Hey, I would settle for free glue sticks, but they don't give me those either. I buy those too. But they have a glue stick that's meant specifically for their little glue gun. And it's got a little kickstand on it here so you can set it up and it's not resting on that. You got low and high. I leave it on low so I don't burn the crap out of my fingers. And I find I like the hold of their sticks the best. I've tried like 4 or 5 different brands of glue sticks at this point. And so far, the only ones that I think are worth a flip are the Gorilla and the Elmer's Craft Glue ones, actually. They're a little smaller. They're a shorter glue stick, but they are actually pretty great as well. Okay, so let's get a little dab. Move my kickstand for a second. And put a little bit here in the corner. Not a ton, just to kind of give us our hold, and then we can glue the rest of that, but without fighting with it, see? And you don't need to glue the whole way. I mean, just a little bit here, 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 and here at the end. Otherwise you'll have a lot of glue in there. And to hold this down and kind of guide it, I have this little tool. This is for beading, but it works pretty good for this. Just sort of holding that where I want it to go. And that's just a little bead scoop. That's all that is. They're nothing to them. They're just little pieces of metal. And you can pick small things up with it. Meant for beads, but works great for this. Ooh, somebody just dropped some more sand. That's something else I'm going to do. Just tap all these little guys, even though they've been washed. Every once in a while, a little bit of sand you missed makes it out. So I'll just knock these guys and make sure there's no more sand. And then you'll notice they're a tiny little bit duller in their color, but I'm going to go over them with a layer of Mod Podge, and that will bring the color back up on them. All right, so far our semi-homemade sign is looking really sweet. that little bit of glue out of there. There we go. Oh, I just love how that came out. I do. All right, now we have to decide where the shells are gonna go. Move these guys down here to the bottom so I can mess with them a little bit. Now this sign had a little bit of a ding here, right here. So I'm just gonna make sure I cover that with a shell and it like won't show. Okay, there we are. So I fooled around with these for a little while before finally deciding on a layout, but go ahead and pause here to give yourself a little bit of time and arrange the shells how you would like on your particular frame. All right, I fooled around with this a little bit, and I guess I'm fairly happy with how they're actually there now. And I'm just gonna get this glue gun going a little so that stick gets in there. There we go. Now I won't have to worry about running out mid-project. Let's take and set it. Not quite high enough. What if I do this? Even better. Okay. Hopefully it's still showing in frame on the camera. Look at that sweet little alphabet cone. Oh my gosh, that is so cute. I love it. So you are probably having a heart attack that I'm doing that to an alphabet cone. But you know, when you're making something special, you use special shells. Yeah, I want to try to put them where they're kind of just touching the bottom. All right, you're gonna go like that, cover that weird spot. There we go. In which case, do I switch this to this way? Maybe, yeah, and put a smaller shell right here. A tiny turkey wing. I think I like it better this way, and I'll just slide another small shell in there. Something small and skinny. What do I got? What do I got that's small and skinny? Ooh, the Wentle Pretender, the fly speck. That'll work. Yep, right there. Look how cute that tucked in. Perfect. Okay, the limpet is going right here under Happy Place. Wow, that little guy got hot fast. Ooh. There we go. It's going to result in a little extra glue, which is also something this thing is great for. Just Scraping that little bit of extra glue off of there. There. Let's see. This has got a little cluster with a long shell, so maybe we should take and put the olive over here. Oh yeah, I like that. And how cute is that? Oh my gosh. Oh wait, you guys probably can't see it because it's angled toward me. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and get these glued down. And then I will lay it flat so you can see it better. And since most of this is tacked in place and I have everything kind of balanced and can see where it's going, this makes putting the last few in a little bit easier too. Wow. Because those are so thin, by the way, they get super duper hot. So just watch it when you're gluing bubbles. They're a thin shell and it transmits the heat from the glue very easily. I'm trying to get the stringy stuff off too, so that I don't have to pull it off the project. Easier to sort of coil the glue gun quickly like that and break any little glue stringiness. Oh, this is so super cute. Oh my gosh, look at this little white bitty cone. Oh, here we go. Look how cute that is. Oh yeah, that should totally go there. You can see him just swinging that glue gun around. And then drop it into place. Here goes that guy. Well, I changed my mind on a couple of things. So what I did was swap this out for a little whelk, a little pear whelk, and a slightly bigger jujube top snail. And the olive fits really nice, or the shark eye fits really nice right there. So that's what's going to happen. And then those little guys are the last ones to glue down. Now this little edge here is a little rough too, so gently with my little jewelry pliers, just evening that out so there's no weird bumps and it sits nicely. There. Now my little moon will tuck right in. There. How sweet is that? Oh my gosh, that is so cute. All right, made a little bit of glue come out over here. So Just gonna scoop some of that this way. There we go. How sweet and adorable is this? Now, depending on how girly you want this to be, if you wanted to, you could add a little bow to it. I am a big believer in tiny bows. I think tiny bows are so cute. So we're gonna see if a tiny bow would look cute on this or not. Would this look cute here? Oh my gosh, it would look so cute. Ah, I love it. See, and I think the white is gonna be better than the tan because the tan's too much tan. We got enough tan. Now, these are meant for paper crafting and card making or something like that. I mean, they're dimensional stickers or whatever. I don't even like scrapbooking, I guess. I'm not sure. But I don't use them that way because I think they look too cute on stuff like this. And there you have it. How adorable, cute is this? Oh my gosh. So going on my wall. Well, maybe not the wall. Maybe just over by the TV. Oh, I do love that though. And I really like how this came out with this paint marker. It made such just the most subtle pop and nice little difference to it. Ah, great. And that is a semi-homemade, customized little gift that you can give your Beachy and Shelly friends. That won't take you a ton of time as we get closer to the actual holidays getting here. One of the things we always all run out of is time. Okay, last little touch of the Mod Podge. There we go. And look how it really brought the colors up on the tulip and the Nassau, the fighting conch, glossed up that little moon snail. Really brought the color up on the limpet and that great top snail, that turkey wing. Oh my gosh, this is so super cute and simple. This is the kind of craft you can do with the kids on a cold weekend when it's not beach perfect out, or quickly as you're doing gifts for people. Doesn't break your budget on the bank and doesn't break your budget on time. Oh, I love it. Adorable. What do you say we tackle the other little sign next? This one will also go adorably quick. Now, I'm not going to put as many shells on this one. I have a little tiny starfish whose color happens to match. And this would be what I would call a crafting starfish. This is not something that we find often on our beach in this particular size, but you can find them when you come to our show. February timeframe to the club. We have a shell club show through Sarasota Shell Club in February, the early part of February. And there are vendors there that sell all sorts of shells that you can do all kinds of cool, crafty stuff with. So since I don't find starfish that size, I do indulge and get a few small ones. So I have them for cute little projects like this. Now, my idea is I want to put a couple of little shells here in the corner, this little starfish here, and then I have this little baby's ear, and I want to sort of make it like a cornucopia where there's a hole back here. And then I can add in some really sweet little sea oats. Now, these are not from around here either. Those are federally protected, and you cannot play and touch with those. You leave those alone. You buy these at Hobby Lobby. But they are a little like a grass, like sea oat looking thing. And I just think that is super, super duper cute. Just like this. And see, I'm using the little baby's ear like a vase, right? Like I'm just sliding these little pieces into the shell. And that's where they're going to go. And I'll just make sure I don't, cover the word up. So that's my plan for this one. And this is not going to take long at all. Now I am going to decide last on that starfish if I would like it there or if I would like it in the center. Whether or not that goes here or here sort of depends on what's going on down here, because my biggest design element, of course, would be the little shell going here with the sea oats stuck down into it. First things first, let's get some glue on the back of this baby's ear. But I don't want any near that top. I want it like this. Ooh, and I put my thumb in it. Okay, that was hot. Hey, it wouldn't be a crafting video with me if I didn't burn myself, would it? All right, now, I don't want it flat against there. I want it raised, turned out, so that I can slide the sea oats in. So I'm going to just remove some of this glue along the edge too. See that? My little tool's just scooping it right off of there, so I don't have a big ugly glue blob. At first I was thinking, you know, shells all the way across the bottom of this thing. But I thought about it a little more and decided I did not like that idea. I wanted this to be a little more simple and let the sea oats kind of shine. And a cute little horse conch right here. And I also have a Nassau, little bruised Nassau. I'm going to put right there. A lot of the stuff I make shell-wise is pretty over the top, so I know you guys aren't used to seeing me do the minimalist thing, but it's important to remember that you can use these shells in more than one style of decorating. And if you want to go minimalism, I mean, look how clean that is. And it's going to be nice even with this on here. Yeah, it's going to be like a little vase. How cute is this? Oh my gosh. Right. I am going to take a bit of that stem off. Just a little bit. And I am going to put a little bit of glue in here and just a smidge on the back of this here to kind of hold it, but still allow it to move around a little. See, I get it where I want it. Just like that. And then that allows that to move, but it's tacked right here, so it's not going anywhere else. And while that glue is still hot, I'm going to put some more pieces in. I might have to stand this guy up to be able to see down in there. Yeah, I think that might work better. Hopefully this is showing on the camera and I'm not too out of the way. There, we've got some there. And then I'm going to just fill in with some of these smaller pieces, sort of cover up the stemminess of that. Make it look a little lush down here by the bottom. Kind of fill it in. Of course, these are very light, so you're not going to need a ton of glue either. And I'm just sort of changing the directions a little bit so it looks like it's got some coming out at you kind of dimension to it. Best way I guess I can show that is maybe show this from the side so that you can see that that's sort of up and away a little and sticking out a little. Yeah, that piece will be great right there. That'll help tuck that right into that spot there. All right, now the question of where the starfish is going to go. Ooh, I kind of like it down there. Starfish. I don't like it here because of this. And I don't like it here because I feel like it makes it top heavy. And I don't like it here because I feel like it's too close to the bottom. And I don't love it here either. Geez, you know what? I don't think I'm going to use it. I don't think I'm going to use that starfish. I think it's going to be just fine just like this. I think this is darling. It's just fancy enough with a little bit of movement, but it's not overdone. Of course, you have your little sea oats here, a couple of shells. Nope, I think I'm going to see if I want a bow. I'm gonna try and see if the bow does it. If not, then it stays as is. Now in this case, I think with the white background being so predominant, maybe this one would benefit from a burlap bow. Let's see. How about a little bow on that? Well, that's kind of cute. How about a little bow there? No. Top? No. There? I don't love it. No. No bow. Going minimal. Cleaner and cuter this way. So there we have it. Another cute little semi-homemade project that you can accomplish in a very short period of time. You need a just bare minimum of some small shells. And I used the baby's ear because it makes like it looked almost like a little vase when I turned it this way. Of course, you can use just about anything there you wanted to. You could use a moon snail or a gaudy. You could put a fighting conch on its side there and fill that up. Let's see, you could have used a chestnut turban too. Just pull a chestnut turban out. Give that a look. Yeah, you could have used a chestnut turban for this same exact thing. The actual sea oats that we have around here, those, they have things going off of each side of them and they're very flat. And again, if you see them on the beach, please do not collect those. Those are protected, which is why I'm not using them either, even though you would think they'd be readily available around me. Yeah, this is super cute. No, I'm leaving it alone. I'm calling that done. Love it. Super simple. Again, doesn't break the bank and doesn't break the budget. I think I picked this up at Hobby Lobby for, I don't know, $4. They're not expensive, these little signs at all. So, but how cute. At that price, you can give somebody 2 cute ones that go together for a little grouping for the wall. So let's have a look at this really cool clock. Oh man, what a great clock. Look at that. The ocean. Oh, it's so pretty. And it wasn't a lot, and it was on sale 50% off. So even better. Got this cool clock that I know just about every sheller would love if we make a little quick modification to it. Let's see if we can't cover these numbers with different shells and say it's going to be shell o'clock somewhere, like maybe right here in the center. Now you're just see that white circle's not there. It's just a reflection from the ring light on the cover. All right, first things first, we're gonna have to get this out of the package. Now there are some screws in the back that are holding it in place right here. I've really loosened them up a little bit already. Oops, so that this would not take very long to get them out of here. There we go. And then this just comes off. Now the real question is, does this front and back detach so that we could put something inside? And that is, I mean, there's a layer of plastic on here. If I had to, I could put the shells right on the outside of it. It wouldn't make a bit of difference. And it actually would maybe cast a cool little shadow inside, and you'd still sort of be able to see the numbers. But for whatever reason, I had my heart set on it being underneath this as my first option. So that's what I want to take a look at. Now that I'm looking at it, I think maybe these tabs actually may lift off where this back and front can detach. So let's find out. Let's see if we can get this apart. So yeah, you have to get one of them loosened at a time and kind of work your way around slowly and carefully without breaking that tab off. It actually is easier if you just bend it out with your thumb and push up from the bottom, which is what I'm doing. Here we go. Even easier without the screwdriver. And ta-da! There's our top, and here's our clock. Now before I attach anything to it, I'm going to put a battery in it and make sure that it works, and then we'll reassemble this little beauty. Now for the fun part, picking out the shells that go in it. Now I picked out some shells that I thought sort of best represented Florida around here and what things you can find. We've got a lightning whelk, an olive, a moon snail, a couple of calico scallops, an apple murex, a banded tulip, a lucky limpet, of course, a pear whelk, a calico clam, a little juvenile Florida fighting conch, a cone, a Florida cone, and a gaudy nautica. And these all look great, and they're all pretty much the right size to fit in here, because we need to, you know, be concerned that they're not too tall. But there's another thing that we're gonna have to be concerned about in a second. All right, now see, I can already tell my cone is too big. So I have to pick a different one out because the glass won't lay down flat, it's hitting the cone. The other question mark I had was the murex and that whelk. So make sure you're picking shells that are gonna end up below this mark, this black mark here, that they're not any thicker than that. So I'm gonna have to revamp my shell choices a little bit and find slightly smaller versions of the ones I had picked out. Now the other thing, let me just get this out of here so I don't break it. The other thing you need to consider is the sweep of the hand. The hour hand is okay, but that minute hand is pretty much hitting everything. So I'm gonna move my shells out of the way. And I'm gonna kind of just memorize at what point this hits. And if I can keep that, let's see, what the widest number is gonna be like 10, 11, and 12, right? So this hand can't extend too far into this number because that's where my shell is supposed to sit. So I'm gonna need to shorten, I need to shorten the minute hand. If I'm shortening the minute hand, I'm gonna need to shorten the hour hand also. And to get across that sweep, to get past the widest part of these numbers, it looks like 10 is my widest one, my issue. Let's get over here to 2 where that sticks out. No, that doesn't stick out nearly as far. The 5 it sticks out pretty far with also, but yeah, the 10 will be the biggest. So I'm going to make a mark right here, and I'm going to cut this off of this hand, and I'm going to shorten this a little bit. Not a full inch, it'll be way too short, but I'm going to take about a ½ an inch or so off of there, just so that it doesn't look like it's the same size as this hand, because if I take an inch off of it, see, they'll be the same length, and I don't want them to be the same length. So I can shorten this one a little ways, bring this one to about here, and that'll have them offset enough so that you can tell time with that. Alrighty. I went through my shells and picked out some smaller ones, and they now fit below the level of this rim. See that rim? If it sticks above there, then the glass won't sit properly. So I had to make sure everything that I'm using is going to fit inside of that rim. So now I just have to decide what is going on, what hour. Wipe this down a little bit to make sure there's no sand or anything like that. Shorten the hands so that they don't hit the shells. And then, yeah, we'll be able to close it up and hang it on the wall. Sweet. All right, my jewelry cutters did not want to go through this. Now, my jewelry pliers did not want to cut whatever these hands are made out of. I'm sure it's like a stamped brass or something along those lines. And it's relatively stiff, so I'm going to try these wire cutters instead. Oh my gosh, that does not want to cut. There. Bend it back and forth a little bit. Now, see, it's almost the same height as our hour hand. So we have to take some of that hour hand off of there too. There we go. So our minute hand is longer than our hour hand. I did bend it a little bit. I will straighten those back out, and then we'll go ahead and start putting the shells in. My cutters were dull and left a bit of a ragged edge on these clock hands, so I just went in with my diamond wheel that I use for shell cleaning and just sanded them a little bit. And by the way, when you hold on to those hands and do that, those get super hot, so just watch your fingers. Alright, just making sure that as this thing turns, the little cut lines aren't going to catch or anything like that. Make sure I didn't bend the hands. Now, of course, if I had, you can take this little clockwork off of here, get a different set of hands for it, that kind of stuff. But everything is fine with this. It's turning and spinning all right. And I'll just end up putting a little teeny dab of white here where I nicked the paint on it, and it'll be fine. Let's see how this looks silver. Oh, I like this. All right, now let's decide what is going where. So I had a little fun rearranging these things, kind of till I've had them where I wanted them. We're just gonna fast forward through this arranging part and get to the actual crafting quicker. And there's a cone. And limp it. I think that looks pretty good. Now the other question I need to ask myself is, do I want all the points going the same way? Do I, want everything kind of going around? Or if I just want to set them however they look the best, going straight up and down. Yep, I think that's the arrangement. I think that's what I'm gonna do. All right, The glue gun's all heated up, so I guess it's time to start putting some stuff in place. I'm trying to keep the glue kind of hidden behind the lip of the shell. I didn't want a big gob of it necessarily showing after I set the shells down. Just want to make sure that little guy is going to fit. Okay. And also, I'm not trying to put on too terribly much of this, and I have the glue gun on low. That's because this is plastic and this is a vinyl insert, so I don't really want to melt it. Just want to tack things down. Let's speed up some of this gluing the shells in place process too. You guys have seen me work a hot glue gun plenty already. There we go. And once I have all these little guys in, I'm gonna go ahead and just touch them up with a little small brush and some Mod Podge just to bring their shine up a little bit. Got some glue stringies there. Poke them out of here with this. There. All right, last one to go is Lucky Limpet. And see, I'm just putting the glue around this inside edge because I know it'll slump down once I set this thing the other direction and flip it over. There it goes. All right. Well, any dust or anything like that that's in here out, then we'll put a battery in it, reassemble it, and check it out. Alrighty. Everything is pretty much dry. Put a little bit of paint on the hands to sort of make them pop out a little bit, but they'll dry soon enough. And I think it's time that we go ahead and put this guy back in its cover. Ooh, found a little piece of Dixie fur there, and a little bit of sand here. There we go. So we take this, everything is glued, so we can just flip it over. And we want to line these tabs back up with where they came out of. Let's make sure we're in the right exact spot. Once we have one of them lined up, they should all be perfect. There we go. There's the first one, second, the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth all popped back in. And there we go. There's our beautiful shell clock. That's fun. All right, let's find a battery for it and hang it up. This looks great. And there it is, hanging on the wall. That looks great. I love it. Let's get started on our really cute little nativity ornaments. Now at Hobby Lobby, you can get these sets right here. Here's your wise men and their camels. And then the Holy Family, an angel, a sheep, and a burro. So, what we're gonna do is open these up. I grabbed 3 shells, wasn't really sure if it was gonna take me 2 or 3 to put together, but this is intended to be a set. Let's get these little guys out of the packages. And they're buttons, okay? So they have this shank on the back, and I'm gonna just take and cut these off. Here we go. Here's our little guys here. And look at that angel. Oh, how cute. Okay, so first things first. They won't sit very well while you're trying to arrange them and play with them and get them set with these shanks on. So just for placement purposes, to get that figured out, I'm just cutting those off. See that? This is just a pair of wire cutters for jewelry. If you don't want this to go flying, just put your hand over it. Ooh, that one hit me. Now you'll see here I have Sunray Venus clams. And that's because they're wide and they're tall enough to kind of handle putting in a few things here. So we'll be able to line these little guys up. Do this with that. And also, to give the appearance of being in the manger and whatnot, I have raffia here. And what I've done is I've just pulled some strands out, and to keep them from getting all over the place, I'll tie those tops just like that. Now the strands will stay together, and then I can cut some and just put it around in the shell here for the base, kind of, the flooring, I suppose. And I'll fool around with this and see if it's better for me to just tie a bunch of knots and do this, where you fold it forward, and then, you know, your straw look kind of sticks forward, or if I'm just going to go crossways with things. Figure that out in a second. That's sitting off there to the side. I did grab 3 shells. I don't think I need 3. I think I only need 2. On a second trip back to Hobby Lobby, shortly after getting this, I also found a third set of buttons, which is the shepherds and the sheep. So I grabbed those for a third ornament. So these guys, I'm going to just kind of line them up. And then these fellas, I'm going to line these guys up as well. And these can overlap, but I don't want these two necessarily. Now, with the shell being deeper in the middle, I can actually get a sense of depth by putting one closer to the center and these guys out on the edge, which will make them stand away a little taller. All right, so I've gotten all the little shanks cut off the backs of these guys here, as you can see. And I've also made some little tufts of the raffia into sort of like straw bundles that I can put in the bottoms of these as well. So the next thing we're going to want to do is start assembling. I just want to check my placement here. This here and here. Well, that part of the shell is a little bigger, so actually he fits there better because of his shepherd's crook. And we got a little lamb, and our little donkey, and then our angel, which we're going to put her here, kind of over the center of the top. So that's how that one's going to lay out, and then this is sort of how this one is going to lay out here. So before I put these in, I'm going to put some of these little faux straw bundles down too. I'll go like this across the bottom, just like this. And put a few of them together. Figure out how many need to really go together. Now let's fold these forward from the knot and just set them next to each other. Instead of weaving them together. There, that looks like it'll be pretty good coverage for the most part. And then I'll just run the glue along the edge here. There we go. Need a little more over on this side. And maybe a little bit more on this side. There we are. Now we've got our straw base built up there. Just trim a little off if you need to. There we go. And then now we'll put our little peoples in. Okay, put her right here. Start with Mary. There we go. Joseph right here. And then we'll put the little manger right here on the top of that little knot, which I'm going to put a bit of glue behind it and just kind of press it down a little bit too, because it's sticking up a little bit. I'm just going to push it down into here. There. It's cooled a little bit. So put a bit of glue here, and we'll add our little manger. There, that'll do that. Okay, there we go. Now, we just got to get our little donkey in there and our little sheep in there. Our little donkey's in there now. I'm just gonna kind of get his feet into this straw a little bit. So get a little sense of depth of field here, a little with the sheep and the manger being in front, and then Mary and Joseph in the, you know, kind of behind that, and then him kind of back here. So it sort of gives you an effect of looking in at things a little bit. Now, before I add the angel to the top, which I could add her anyplace else too. I mean, I could put her here. But I would really rather her be watching guard over. So this is where she's actually gonna go, on the outside of the top. And before I glue that down, I'm gonna put a tie, or a hanger rather, on this. Now it happened that this shell already had a hole in the top. See that? Right through the top of it. So I'm going to just use some of my cord and make a hanger out of that. And this, guys, is just some regular old macrame cord. Got this at the dollar store. It's, you know, inexpensive, lots of it on there. I'm gonna tie a single knot right in the center, close by to the center anyway. And we'll get it through here. There we go. Now you can kind of see that get pulled through, just like that. Pull to the knot at the top. I'm gonna make a hanger for this to hang from the tree. And I like this nautical cord because it looks beachy, and I don't know, it just goes. And cut off the excess. There we are. And of course, we just need to put a little dab of glue in here. Keep that knot from moving around. So I'm gonna just take my glue gun. I'm gonna put a teeny little dab in here. And give it a little tug. There we go. Now it's sitting on top of it. And that's great. And then we will take our angel and we will put her here. Now, I would say that there's a little spot here where I cut this shank off. And there's kind of like a gap and then two little nubs, kind of, because it's really hard to get these trimmers all the way level. But that makes a little spot for her to sort of rest on the lip of the shell. So that's what we're going to do with her. Put a little bit of glue here on this. And then this will be held by it. And then she's going to go right there. So that she sort of is attached to kind of the cord and to the edge of the shell. And then from this back side, I'm going to apply a little more glue to hold it up here as well. Make it stronger. And then we'll do the same thing underneath. Put a little dab of glue in here behind her. Make sure she's nice and held in. There we go. Take a little bit of that extra off with my fingernail there. And ta-da! So there is our nativity scene. And then we're going to go ahead and do the same thing for the Magi. But here's the thing. My shell on this side doesn't have a hole in it this time. So I'm going to have to attach the cord a little bit differently. And that's okay. Oh, I just love how this came out. It's so sweet. Oh, it is so darling. Oh, I love it. All right, I got a piece of this cord, and because there's no hole, I don't have to worry about getting it through anything, so I can just go ahead and put a knot in the end of this right now and make a loop now. Now you'll notice I made it a little longer than this other one. That's because I'm going to attach it to the back of the shell. Let's cut the excess. Now, if I think that cord is too long, I can also go ahead and just shorten it some more. But here's how I'm laying this out. I'm going to do this so that the loop goes around the back of this shell. So it's got a lot to be attached to. I'm going to cover that over with another shell. I'm going to go like that, so that cord's going to be kind of held onto there and sort of caught between these two so it doesn't pull out. And of course that will, depending on how far up I put this, and I can shorten this so that it's hidden behind the shell and just make another knot down here too. But what I want to do is, because this is a slightly bigger, heavier shell, trying to balance the hanger so it's in like a good balance point. And on a summery Venus clam, that's going to be from this tip of this hinge over to here. That'll, if you can center your ribbon in this area here or whatever you're using for a tie, that'll make the shell kind of balance, because otherwise they're a little heavier on this side and they want to tend to go like that. And that shell is going the wrong way. Oh, that one's the right way. Okay. I am just going to put glue inside this shell. And sort of let it just flow around. And get that captured. Wow, that's hot. Dang it. Shells get super, 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 super hot when you hot glue them. Like, insanely hot. So once I add some more glue to this, I'm going to have to let this cool so that I can handle it. And you see I'm just getting glue into the extra space. Push this down a little bit on here. So what that gives you is a bit of a neater back, so you don't have a big bunch of, cord on the back of it that you're looking at the backs of your ornaments all the time. But if you're making presents for somebody, details matter. And nice little finish touches like that make things look a little more professional. Now that's cool enough to hold, and as I'm holding it, I can see it wants to lean forward a little bit, so I'm going to need to glue the cord closer up here. And what I mean by that is I'm going to take and run some glue this way. And I'm going to lay my cord right in it. And while it's still warm, if there's too much, just take your fingernail, peel that off. See that? Just peel it right off. And now that that's cooler, this hangs much better straight up and down. It's not leaning forward. Perfect. There, I've got my straw sort of lined up now. Just to remember, in order for me to get these guys in here, I'm gonna have to layer them a little bit. And to layer them, I'm gonna set the one in the back, then the one in the middle, then the one in the front down. Like this. So he's gonna go kind of in the middle. Boy, you know, I'm wondering, should I put them in first? Or I should put them in first and then the straw, because it's gonna be harder to get these guys in with the straw there. So, unlike the last one, where I could have gone either way, this one has to kind of go this way. Just a little trouble wedging this last one in here because his ears are hitting the top. That's okay though. There, now he's in there. So my little camels are all lined up in there now though. Now I'll go around the bottom. And get my straw nailed down here, kinda. Ooh, I just put my fingers right in that, and that was hot. Oh my gosh. And now we can put our wise men in. So this guy was gonna kind of go here in the back, like in the middle. And then these two were going to be staggered a little. And here we have our three magi bringing their gifts. So what a sweet little ornament set this makes for your tree. How cute. And of course you can do the cords the same on both of them so that they match better. I just wanted to show the different ways of doing that with a hole versus without, as far as being able to string something through the top or not. Tree, I think these are adorable. How lovely. Nativity show ornament sets that you can give as gifts. Fairly easy to accomplish, and fairly inexpensive too. Supplies will cost you under less than $10 for making both of them. So yeah, great little item to have around for a last minute Christmas party gift, so you can give it to the hostess or whatever, or something like that, or hanging them on your own tree. Beautiful. I'm going to be loading holiday ornaments on my website this week, so here's some to keep watch for. Here's the shepherds with the angel and the sheep that I found on the return trip to Hobby Lobby. And here's the Holy Family with Jesus in the manger, the angel, the little burro, and the little sheep. Oh, so sweet. And then the wise men with their camels and their gifts. So keep an eye out for my website. I have enough to do 2 sets. Oh, have a look at these adorable little ball ornaments with the mermaids and the shells on them. Aren't these so cute? So I had made 4 different color ornaments. I had 4 different color mermaids, and they came out to all differently and adorable. Ball ornaments are super easy to accomplish, and I love making them. I love them with these shatterproof ornaments that are made out of plastic, so that if they get knocked off the tree by a happy puppy tail or walking by it too quickly, then you're not going to really do any serious damage with them. This particular set came with a plain matte white, a metallic blue, a frosted blue, and then a glitter colored white. So I have 4 different colored ornaments. I'm going to use 4 different colored mermaids on them, and they're all going to have the same technique and look great. Ooh boy, now we're going to work on one of my favorite holiday things to do. I love making ornaments. I just love them. Alright, so there's 4 different colors. There's this shimmery, frosty, glittery white. There's a more just a plain frosted. There's a frosted blue, and then a mirror shine kind of a blue also. So these are going to be all similarly decorated so that you can make this as a set, as a gift to give to somebody, or for putting on your own tree if you like. Now for shells, because of the color is so unique on these, I'm going to use something a little special that I don't use all the time. These are a special limpet. I got these at the show. Look at the color in them. Look at that cool kind of bluey greeny, and then there's some brown on the other side. Like, I just think these are fabulous. And of course I don't use them all the time because we don't have them around here. So I picked some up at the show, and at the time it was $12 for 50 of them. They're not cheap to work with, obviously. So would I cover a whole ornament with them? Probably not. But they're pretty, and they go nicely with these colors, with some, let's use some cream or some white with that blue green and the blue, some tan, just, echo the ocean colors in these, and they're going to be stunning. So I'm going to pull a couple of shells out and pick a couple of different ribbons that I want to work with, and then I'll show you what we're going to do. All right, you can see here that I've got a selection of stuff picked out. Some of those fun blue limpets, I think they're gorgeous. But I also have some other really cool stuff. Some serifs and augurs, a couple of little cones in here, chestnut turbans, and these little trap doors to them, the little operculums that go with them. I like those. So just a little smattering selection of different shells that we're going to play around with. And then, of course, I've got a selection of ribbons over here, too. Some silver, some cream, some white, some tan, some pearls. So we're going to be going around one of these balls, okay, with some ribbon. Then we're going to decorate around the top, and we're going to put a little hemp cord hanger in there. And by doing them all similarly, even though they're not exactly the same, we'll make a very nice set of ornaments so that each ornament is different, but they're all cohesive and go sort of together and look nice on the tree. First things first. I'm going to grab a white ornament first, and we'll start simply, and we'll use some color ribbon on here too. And I'm going to have you just look your ornament over, you should see, and it's a little harder on this white one, but you can see it much more clearly on the blue, that there's a line where the two sides are molded together. So you want to find that line on your ornament, and that's what we're going to cover over with the ribbon. Right now here I can see my line is right here and right here. I also have a little pencil here. And because this line is a little hard to see, I'm just going to mark on the line with the pencil, so that when I'm putting the ribbon on, I stay straight. And don't worry, none of that's going to show. And I'm only putting it on here because this white one, it's really hard to see the mold line on. It's going to be hard on this one also. There's a little indentation there. I can kind of see that the glitter sort of settled into. And it is much, much easier to see on the mirrored ball. You can see that line right there, go all the way around it. So that is our guideline for placing our ribbon. Now for this one, because this is white and I want the colors to sort of pop a little bit, I'm going to go with this turquoise and a cream ribbon. For some reason, my phone actually went dead while I was filming this part with the white actual ornament. So what I'm putting in here is the instructions for how to put it on this glitter ornament, just so you can see. Basically, you take the ribbon, you go around the belly of the ornament on that seam line, and you just quick measure it so that you have it. You cut your ribbon the same length. You run a bead of the hot glue along the seam line between the two halves of the ornament, and try to keep it kind of centered where the ribbon goes. Just center it over that. And then once you have the colored ribbon down, once you get that glued in place, then you'll glue the second ribbon, that crochet look ribbon, over the top of it, such that you want the aqua ribbon to show through the crochet ribbon in this instance. Or in the ornament we were just working on, it'll be like a teal with a white crocheted over it. Now here you see I've gotten it glued around to the top, and there was a little excess there. I'm just taking the scissors to it and cutting it off. And then I'll just go ahead and make sure that it's good and tacked down around the top. Now, if you cut it off a little crooked, it doesn't matter, because we're going to embellish the top and it'll never show. Plus, you're also putting this ribbon over the top of it as well. So this is one of those really forgiving crafts where it's okay if you're not quite perfect up here at the top. I will just say, make sure that you adjust that little, God, I don't even know what it's called, that little silver thing. It's where the hook attaches to on the top of an ornament. I just make sure that I've got that turned and kind of perpendicular to that center line around the middle of the ornament before I get started. Now you can see I'm already gluing the crochet ribbon over the grosgrain ribbon, and the color behind will show through when you get done gluing all of that around. But again, you're going to just go around the middle of the ornament with the hot glue and just gently pull it along so that it gets set down in the glue. Work a little, maybe a couple of inches worth at a time. And then once you're done gluing that, if there's any excess there at the top, I got just about 1/4 of an inch or so, a little bit extra there, just trimming that off. And then I'll make sure that the ribbon ends are tacked down. I use that bead scoop tool that I used earlier to just press the ribbon into the hot glue. Now that we have our ribbon around here, the next thing I want to do is go around this top with some cord. I have a hemp, which would be a tan. It does have a little gold thread in there, and this top is kind of silver, but that really doesn't bother me. It's really just very subtle. So on the tree with the lights on it, you won't be able to tell if it's gold or silver. You'll just see it as slightly sparkly and reflective. So I could go with this tan color, which actually matches everything really nicely, or I can go with this cream color in this cotton cord here. I think I'll do 2 each. I think I'll do 2 with the cotton, and I'll use this white cotton on one of the blue and one of the blue ones and one of the white ones, and then use the brown on the other. All right, to go around the top, this is also pretty easy, and it's just going to cover over this area here and make this look a little, you know, a little more finished, a little nicer. So with this cord in particular, because it wants to twist and come apart, I'm going to just put a little bit of this glue on my surface here and just sort of get that into the end of it. And that way it doesn't want to unravel as I'm working with it. All right, so I'm going to come along here in the middle of this, put a little bit of glue here, and just a little bit around the outside. And get this guy's into the glue first, right here at this flat spot, and then wind around. Right, so there's around once. And I'm gonna wanna go around enough times, boy, I got glue everywhere today, jeez Louise. I'm gonna wanna go around enough times to cover the ends of these ribbons and sort of just go around this so that that looks nice, neat, and finished. And all I have to do is just dab a little glue and just, I'm holding this with my thumb and just gently guiding it. And then I go around and make sure it's pressed into the glue. And it's making this nice coil effect, see? And that coil effect isn't going to matter a ton completely either, because we're going to be putting some shells around the top front of this too. But this is just kind of, you know, trimming it out, finishing it, making it look nice. I'm trying not to get too much glue on my fingers, just gently guide this into the glue and make sure it's stuck down. All right, so I'm gonna go around this one more time and just get it, well, maybe 2 more times, to just get it past the edge of the ribbon so that coil is bigger than the ribbon is. And then that gives us a good base to attach shells or whatever to also. There we go. One more and that'll be good. Oh, there was a little bit of glue there already. Now on this last layer, I'm not trying to put very much glue. I don't want it to be visible. I'm more attaching it to the cord than I am necessarily to the ornament ball. You can see I'm getting my fingers in here a little bit too. And I think I will end right here in the center. So I'm going to glue that, then cut it. And that way it doesn't want to unravel. There we go. So I'm just gonna hold that until it cools a little bit. If I do have a little extra glue that gobbed out, just come through and get it out of there. Okay. There. Okay. So there we have it. This nice little white decorative cording here at the top. And now that this is cooled, I'm going to cut this off at an angle and secure the last little end down here with a little dab of glue too. And to guide it, I'll use this. So I can just sort of press it into place and get it in there. There. Now, if you want to go an extra step, you can also go around the center of this with this too, but I think it hides the prettiness of that ribbon, so I don't really want to cover that. But you can, like say you have a little thin ribbon. Let's say this was like a lighter colored teal or something like that. You could add that extra little bit down the center if you want to. Because you can also do this with this cording, pearls, anything. You can put anything there. Like I said, for me, I don't really want to because I think it's going to hide how pretty that ribbon is. But yeah, you can see what that would look like on there. It's cute. All right, get my mess out of the way. Now that this is cooled, I want to think about what do I want to decorate with on the front. Now I'm at the point where I would put the cord through. Remember, I did cut 4 pieces for hangers, the thin hemp. Oh, mind my arm as I reach across the camera to get it there. There we go. Now that I'm at this point, I want to have a hanger on this ball. And I wanted to make sure that when I put some shells around it, I didn't make that hard to get through here. So that's why I put this in now. Yes, I have to work around it a little bit. I'm okay with that. So now we have a loop tied on here. Trim those, make them even. Now, I take one of my taller ribbon things and I set the ball on it where the hole is, like this, so that I can set this and look at it from an angle where it's kind of facing me but tilted back so that I can decide what needs to go up here and how things will look. I usually like to take a bigger shell and then work some smaller ones around it. But since I have these really fabulous blue limpets, I'm going to put those here, kind of resting against that silver thing and on this cotton. And I'm going to put a special shell in the center of it, something small and tiny. Now that can be a shell, it can be a bead, it can be anything that you want to put there. I have operculums, these little Shiva eyes. But if I drop those in, I'll cover a lot of that blue. So I don't really want to go with those. Let's see. A little jujube there. A little cone. There's a little NASA. Just seeing what little tiny guys might fit in there without covering too much of the blue. There's another cute little cone. There's a cool little turret. Aw, there's a baby moon. Look how cute that little guy is. So tiny. Oh, there's a little baby whelk, too. He might be a bit big, though, for this. Even as tiny as he is. Because he's super tiny. But he's a little big for fitting inside of these limpets. Little tiny chestnut turban there. All right, so we have 4 different little shells that will all fit inside of these little limpets. So I'll save these other little ones for something different. Now to start with, you'll notice some of these are different colors too. I'm going to use these lighter colored ones on the blue ornaments and these more intensely teal colored ones on these light colored ornaments. And I love that tiny little moon snail, how it allows that color to come through on that. So I think, yeah, I think using the moon and the chestnut turban kind of give me the most color bang for my buck here, so to speak. I'm going to put some glue in the bottom of this and nestle a little chestnut turban right there in the middle. Do the same with the moon snail. And if you don't have limpets like this, guys, you can use regular lucky limpets. You can use just a bigger moon snail. You can use scallops. If you want them to be colored, you can paint them. So there's lots of ways to incorporate something small up here with a little pop of color. While I'm waiting for those to cool, I'm going to just go ahead and glue these other guys into these other ones. There, how cute. There we go. Now I have to decide, do I want the moon or do I want the turban on this one? And then what other little goodies am I going to put around it to sort of punch it up? Because the idea is to have a little spray of shells right here, and that's the front of your ornament. Well, first things first, I made sure that the straight part was perpendicular to the line so that the ornament will hang properly. So this would be kind of my center point. The top of the ornament sort of marks that center point for me. So that's how I know where to place the first shell. And I'm going to lean it against this and this. Now you can see the back of this limpet has that kind of shape where it'll fill in that area. So I'm going to put a line of glue on the back of this. And then I want to press it into place such that it's sort of leaning on the hanger and pressed into that cord right here too. Let me turn this to the side so you can see that. Make sense? And then when you're looking at it face on, here you go. All right, now I'm going to tip it up a little bit. I'm going to see what else would look nice on here. I think a little operculum would look nice here. Maybe a couple of these little guys. All right, so I'm going to take one of these little augers and I'm going to kind of place it behind that limpet. See where it is right there? Just got it standing up a little bit, so I'm going to hold on to it so it cools that way. I'm going to have 3 of them coming out here in a little spray kind of. There's a little extra glue there. I'm going to put this little smaller guy into it. So we have 3 things coming off of it this direction. And then we'll put another special fun shell kind of this way over here. Do I want that one or do I want that one? Ooh, maybe I want this brown one. That's kind of nice. A little bit of oysters on there, just picking those off with my fingernail. Oh yeah, that actually fits there great. Now the point isn't making mirror images on both sides. The point is putting a little spray of shells that'll make each ornament a little bit different, with the common denominator being the technique, the color of the ribbon, and these little embellished blue limpets on the top. Does that kind of make sense here? And it may not until I actually have more of this done, which is fine. But you'll see what I'm getting at here shortly. There, put that guy there. So now you have a bunch of fun little shells on top of an ornament. Very simple, not overly done. If you want to put more shells on it, you can. Put another one there if you want a big one. But that's what I'm going to do with mine. So our little hangers here. Now another option you can add, those cute little buttons that we used on the last ornaments, the little nativity set. They make these things in all sorts of sizes and designs. And I'll just take some of these out and show you. I've got Santa and Mrs. Claus, and a few others. And I also just happen to have a pack of mermaids. And I could easily add a mermaid to each of these and make these lovely little mermaid ornaments. I think I might. And of course I have other stuff too. I've got flamingos and starfish and turtles and all kinds of other little mermaids and flip-flops and little shells. I mean, I've got a bunch of these little things because I just think they're super duper cute. And I like working with them. But these are the Dress It Up Jesse James ones. These actually came from Joann's, I think, instead of Hobby Lobby. And it's called Mermaid Friends. Yep, Dress It Up Jesse James. Doesn't really say where I got them, but I know that I got these at Joann's in the sewing area where they had all the other buttons. Because there's a sort of... there are some at Hobby Lobby, but it's kind of limited on what they have to choose from generally. Now, for me, I have 4 mermaids here. And I think color-wise, it might be a little tricky matching a few of these up to these metallic or blue ones. Like the pinky purple, that'll look nice on that, but it would probably stand out better on the white, for example. Same with the purple, stands out fairly decently. So I think I'll keep these, the pink and the purple, for these light colored ones. And then, yeah, look how good she stands out on that. How about her? Ooh, I like her on that one. And I kind of like that green one with the metallic with the blue. So, yep, there we go. That's which mermaid's going on which one. Let's see. There's a bit of pink tone in some of these augers to go along with these natural creams and browns. It's just a tinge of undercurrent of pink in some of this. So why don't we go ahead and use her on this one here. Now again, it's a button, so we do have to cut the shank. And I'm just doing this with my jewelry pliers. One side, then the other. Woo! Watch out, it does go flying. Boy, if I set her like that, it almost looks like that's her mermaid's crown or something. That's kind of adorable. So, yep, she's going to go right here in the center. Now, she may not lay perfectly flat because she's perfectly flat and this is curved. If you attempt to bend her, the top part of the button will come separated from the base of the button. All right? That's how these are made. So I wouldn't try to bend her. What's a better idea is see where she's going to sit for, like, once you set her head on the edge of that limpet, and you can see where she makes contact here behind her head and then here down in her tail, but not in her center. So let's put the glue there, up here on her head, down here, and we won't worry about the middle. And then we just set her on there. And she's super adorable cute. Whoa, knocked over that guy. There, if we got a little extra glue, we'll just scoop that off of there. Kind of hide it behind her. And of course, this should have something bow-like on it, so that even the back is pretty. This one is a white ornament, so I think I better put the burlap on there. Oh my gosh, that's so cute. So we'll go ahead and put that little bow on the back there. Press that into the cording, and there we go. What an adorable little ornament. Oh my God, she's super cute. Oh my gosh, I like her. So I will go ahead and make her friends now. And you can substitute any of this stuff, guys. Don't feel like you have to use these shells. Don't feel like you have to use those. Don't feel like you have to put a button on it at all. Could have just put a button right under there or a bow right under this and called it done. Whatever you like, it's your ornament, your tree. You put anything on there that you like. I do just recommend keeping it a little simplified, not going overdone with it, because they are going to be a little on the fragile side. And you might want to hang these up a little higher because kids may want to touch and poke. And you know, it is just hot glue, so it's an ornament. But there we have it. A cute little mermaid ornament. Let's make her some friends. This time, I'm going to work on this blue metallic ornament here. And of course, I already have these pieces cut from earlier, so I know how long to cut my ribbons. And I'll just go ahead and use this as a guide and cut them the same length because they're all the same size. And again, because you're going to cover that top with that coil effect around here, if your ribbon isn't perfect, who's going to know? Nobody's gonna know. How would they know? Unless you tell them. All right, again, I'm gonna look at my ornament, make sure that this part of the hanger, the open part, is perpendicular to where the seam line in the ornament is. Remembering again that your seam line is your guide for where you're gluing your ribbon. So you just keep the ribbon centered and your glue centered right on that little seam line. You'll be fine. So all I'm doing is the exact same things. I'm gluing the ribbon around the center line of the ornament. I'm going to trim out the top with some of that cord and embellish it on the top with some shells and a little mermaid. But we're going to add a special twist to this one that they have at Hobby Lobby. I'm probably holding this way too close underneath the camera. Let me try doing that so that it's readable. It says Natural Oats, Fall Naturals, and this is a product of Canada. See, these look nothing like our sea oats here in Florida, like at all. But they are mighty cute. So I'm just gonna pull a couple of these out and decorate the top of this one with some of it. I don't want the grass portion, I just want these. So I'm just gonna cut the rest of the stem off, then shorten as I need to. There we go. That set back on there. Now these little guys, see, like this is a little individual sprig and that one is, there's all these little individual sprigs. So I'm gonna get a few of each and have them go this way and then put a couple of shells over that to kind of conceal their stems. And I'm gonna wanna shorten this a little bit too. So first things first, we will kind of glue them to each other. Then I can trim some excess off and they'll be held together. I'm going to set this in my little work area space too so I can see roughly how long I've made it. And yeah, I'm right about there. Honestly, if I pull this piece out, this piece and this piece match pretty well. I'm just gonna run a little glue here too. Keep these guys here attached to themselves also. And I'm gonna let that cool. I'm gonna trim these guys like this. Now I want these. Actually, I'm going to cut that a little shorter yet because I want the little pieces of this to be right up next to the center. So I'll go ahead and take a little bit more off of that. I don't know why that ornament does not want to stand up. It just doesn't. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to set this right here into that glue, and I'm going to put a little mermaid tear over it. The mermaid tear, of course, being the Shiva eye, they call it, which is the operculum from chestnut turbans. Get one approximately about the same size. Put that there. So now we have this great sea oat coming off of that ornament. And we're not done yet, of course. We got to put our mermaid on here. And we're also going to put a couple of shells here too. I think in this case, I am going to try to match them a little more closely too. Nice. Maybe little thigh specks. No, I think I'm going to go with these augers actually. It's not that easy to find two that are close in size and close in color, but that's as close as I think I'm going to get. Plus, when I put some Mod Podge on this to brighten its color up, it'll get a little more intense. So I'm going to put this here, like this. Wait, do I want them facing outward or forward? I think I kind of want them outward. There, we'll hold that just where I want it for a second till that has a chance to cool. So I'm going to try to get these approximately the same angle here. And of course, last but not least, we're going to glue down our little mermaid. And I found this really adorable, tiny little drill shell, little sharp rib drill. See that nice sharp edge on the side? Ooh. And I want to see if I can make her kind of hold it. Sort of like a scepter almost. So I'm going to put that on her hand. Then I'm going to glue her onto the ornament. And I put it on her hand. Just a little dab of glue there. Just sort of set her hand into it. Now she looks like she's holding it. Super cute. Now I mentioned before also that when I put some Mod Podge on this, the shell colors, of course, are going to get punchier. I'm going to do that on all of them all at one time rather than stop and do it on every single ornament. Just for my own speed and workflow. Now this guy's getting a little top heavy, so he doesn't want to sit right where I had it before. I'm going to have to lean it on this thing. And again, I'm just being careful because I don't want to break my little sea oats. And I'm ducking down and looking at it from the side to figure out where to put the glue on it. And I'll show you guys the same thing. So she's going to make, oh no, I just dropped her. I hope I didn't break her. Oh gosh. I mean, she won't break. I just didn't want to break the shell off of her hand. There we go. So I'm just going to see where the glue needs to be on the side for her to be touching. So behind her head and behind her tail, just like last time. There we go. Now I'm not gonna do anything but just hold her for a second. Make sure she's lined up properly. Just pulling a little extra glue out of there too. There we go. And there we have ornament number 2. that one up. Keep on going. Again, we're doing the same thing, covering the center of the ribbon and then the top. This time on this glitter one, we're using some of that fun hemp cord instead. Boy, I should have worked with this glittery one last. This thing is shedding glitter all over the place. Occupational hazard, working in anything glitter covered. You can attempt a clear coat of spray with something like a spray varnish, a matte fixative, Mr. Super Clear, stuff like that. If you want to go to the trouble of trying to seal that glitter, you can cover your ornament in Mod Podge. Of course, this is going to add a lot of time to making your ornaments. So, and most people they just deal with the glitter. It's part of holidays, I guess. But it's not my favorite thing all over my work surface because it gets all over everything. A little tough to clean up. And again, with this one, we're doing the same thing. We added the limpet on the top. We've got a couple of embellishments going on here. A baby's ear, actually, and a small cone are going up there on the top of this one. And then on the other side, I'm going to put some more spiky things, an auger, a turret, and then another little auger is going to go over here on the top. Just fasten that on there, and then we'll add, of course, our little mermaid to it as well. And we will call this ornament complete as well. Another beauty. All set and ready. So pretty. And oops, almost forgot her cutie pie bow. Almost forgot the cute little bow on her. I did forget it on the second ornament, but then I remembered and went back and did it. So this time we'll use a little white bow here. So it sticks out against that nice burlap background. There we have that. Super duper cute. Oh my gosh. I cannot wait to put my tree up and then show these to you on my tree. And of course, ornament number 4 is made the exact same way as these last 3 have been. In this case, we have the frosted with the little green mermaid and a starfish in her hair. And I kept her. I love her. And here they all are. After the set was finished, here's all 4 of them together. And oh my gosh, I just think they're so cute. We have that blue, the purple, the pink, and then an aqua colored one. And I ended up keeping the one on the frosted ball for my tree because I just thought that green one was just so pretty. I just loved her so much. But there they are on the tree. Absolutely adorable. All right, and for our next project, another semi-homemade kind of a gift. All right, now don't pay any attention to this in the bottle. These are what are called candle snuggers, okay? And they just go between the taper and whatever you're putting that taper candle into. It takes up the extra space so that you can set a candle in there. So I found these 2 bottles, and they match, they go together, and they're partially wrapped with this kind of like raffia natural grass cording. And I thought, oh man, what a cool set this would make for a little gift. These with taper candles inside of them. So the candles sort of rattle around in there, so I put these little foam things there. They're just there to hold the candle, but they're not necessarily fire retardant or anything like that. I'm going to trim them a little bit, and I'm going to hot glue these in, and that'll be just enough to keep them from, sagging down in there or anything like that. Then later, if I light the tapers and let them burn down a little bit, all I have to do is just wiggle and pull to get the old candle, once it's burned down, out of there. So it's going to sit in down to kind of about here. Now you could also decorate these tapers if you wanted to. Put a little line of small shells through the center of them, anything like that. But if you intend to light them, which I'm not going to light them every day, but I intend that they can be lit in case of power outage or something like that. So if you're going to light them, I wouldn't decorate the tapers themselves, just the bottles. And that being said, a little selection of bigger shells over here, and I'm going to just kind of try a couple of ideas out. For example, I like how these two alternate talons, let me move this small bottle out of the way and focus on this one first. If you've got two sides of an alternate talon, you have a heart. How beautiful is that? And I'm likely going to band something like ribbon or something like this around the top just to hide that so that doesn't show. And that can easily be hidden with just a little roll of ribbon up here around the top. Super simple. So yeah, I'm going to take a couple of shells I really like. I like this little talons as a heart thing. And we can put a lightning welk there with it. And a little Florida fighting conch. Just dressing these up with some shells to give them a little presence and match them up with your coastal interior vibe. And both of these are kind of, like I said, they go together. You can see that the tops are pretty similar. They're wrapped in the same cord. They're the same size, diameter-wise at least. And just one is a little taller than the other. So that gives you something for some nice grouping to get some height over on a side table or something like that. And then with the two of them being off height and not matchy, not only do they make a little grouping by themselves, but you can also put them in another grouping together with like a pillar candle. So you have 3 levels of where the flame is going to be. I looked for a third bottle that was in the middle of these two, but was not able to find anything that just ended up here. They were all short or tall like this. So if I were to say, want to put it as in a group of 3, I would get a longer, taller pillar candle, since as you can see, that's gonna occupy a it's gonna be pretty tall. I mean, like 16 inches or so for this one. So I would get like a 12-inch pillar, and then this is of course a little shorter by like 3 inches. You can always shorten the taper as well to have it fit in there better for your grouping. Whatever works, you know. But I thought these, being already wrapped and already nautical enough looking, that it'd be really easy to add some shells to this and make a really great hostess or office party gift if you need something kind of last minute. So what I want to kind of do first is just sort of determine where the front and the back is. You can see here that this is where that cording ends. I just want to put that to the back, and this not all the way in the front either. See here, this is where it is at the bottom. So I'm going to pick something in the middle of that, and that's going to be my center point here. I'm just going to make a small little mark here, because that is definitely going to be covered with shells. Now also, to make these a little bit heavier, you can fill these with sand and put some, fill it up to like here, past where the raffia is, and put some shells in the top. Or they're pretty heavy. I'm not afraid they're going to get knocked over, so I'm not going to bother with that. But if if you have cats or something and need to weigh these down and make them a little heavier, then you can go ahead and put sand in them, just to keep them from feeling light. And of course, you may find other little vases that aren't heavy glass like this, but something else that you decorate. So just know that put stuff inside if you have to. Now, for this one, I think I'm going to want to make a little bow and put a couple of shells sort of in the center. Yeah, there's lots of ways I can dress this out. This is actually kind of nice with the 2 whelks, the pear and the lightning. That's actually really cute. All right, so use the pear and the lightning whelk together. And then, I'm not sure, will I use the talons, will I not? I don't know. We'll see. And then the other one is going to be just like this. And I think I'm going to put the fighting conch next to it on this side, and then maybe a murex over here. I did make this bow for these, but in the end, I decided not to even use it at all. It's a little big. Do I want to do that cord around the top? Or that. Oh, that does look slick. I do like that. Oh boy, actually. I was gonna say I could put like the ribbon around and then like a shell in the middle too, but I think it'll be cleaner with just the ribbon. Those are a little small. That should fit. And yes, I am the queen of eyeballing and not measuring when I'm doing this kind of craft work. Now, you can see how wide my ribbon is. And I really don't want this to get a lumpy look from the glue. So I'm gonna go like super thin. And then I will be able to just kind of scrape off any of the extra. There. And because this is glass, the excess will come off pretty easily too. Here we go. So there's our blue around the top. Just notice that some of my cording is loose. So I'm going to add a little glue. Get that tightened back down too. Now, here's the real question. Do I want to go just shells, or should I put a little ribbon around the center? And I kind of think a ribbon around the center would be nice. I have this different color in the aqua, or I can go with this lacy stuff, which will, it'll make it a little more cottage core, a little more beachy cottage, and a little more feminine, which suits my style. But if you're doing this for someone that's not a girl, and you want to make it more masculine, you can go with more clean, flat, straight, plain ribbons like that. Or one that has a distressed edge. And that would take I mean, obviously the crochet and the eyelet makes it pretty feminine. So it all depends on what matches for your style. This one happens to match mine. I think I will go with this around the center and some of that raffia tied into a spray to go behind it. Now the other question is do I want to do this where I have an obvious, like an overlap, like an X there in the front, or do I just want to make it clean like that? And I think I want to go that way. All right, let's get this cut to length. Now this isn't just, you know, an easy holiday gift giving. See what I mean? I can just take my thumbnail and I'm just able to get that excess little bit of glue right off of there. There's my pencil mark. And I want to bring it from the back to the front because I know that shell is going to cover over where the ribbon overlaps and just dress it out and make it nice. So I don't need a bunch of glue here, just a little bit around the middle of this, and that ought to be plenty to hold it. It doesn't need to be held super tight or anything like that. There. Just bring it right over the center. And if it's a little long, just cut the excess. Doesn't matter if it's perfect because we're about to put a big tulip over the top of that. Yeah, I actually kind of would like these better though. That's going to be cute as like a little spray of shells right here. All right, let's get this guy tacked down first. He's going to take a bunch of glue. You'll notice I'm going inside the edge of that shell because when I set this down, it's going to slump and get into what I'm attaching it to. And I'm just making sure I covered up that little spot in the ribbon where it overlapped. Now, of course, I'm trying to put a shell onto a round bottle. So it's going to need to be held in place. A little bit of glue there in the back kind of help hold it. All right, that's cool enough, I think, to move. And then I'll point this out right here. You can see this is where I added the extra glue, and it's still a little soft, so I should hold on to this for another minute while this guy is tightening up. Now, I have a gap over here, and I didn't realize that. That's all right. Let's stick a shell in it. There. It'll help support this guy. It'll help stick everything down. Keep us from having a big gob of glue showing. Just gonna hold on to this until it's cool and set. Yeah, that's cooling off. It's already starting to cloud. So, yep, that's better. Just make sure I got this extra cooled off glue from around the top. I mean, you don't have to go with one color here. If you want to do two, you can. You want to use cording around it the way we did on the tops of the ornaments, you can. Now that little parallel's gonna go here. And then I'll just put a couple of other shells on the front of it. And I love how it's coming out. Super cute. And you'll notice I'm not putting the taper in until I'm done with all of this because I don't want to get this tacked in place and then knock it loose or anything like that. I think we need a raffia bundle in here somewhere. Let's pull a few pieces of that out. Yeah. You see how I keep one end tied together when I'm working with a few strands too? You just take and cut that off after if you don't need it. But it keeps some pieces together for you to be able to tie some bundles quickly. I think I got kind of a cool idea here. There, Now I have a little bundle of raffia I can stick in a shell and then glue that shell down. And just make a little spray off to the side. And I was planning on putting that pear wilk there. So let's see if I stick this in the pear wilk and then put the pear wilk here. Yeah, I like that. Awesome. So I'm going to just fan that out a little bit. And I know I'm working kind of fast here, but this is fast, easy crafts. That's what the mission here was this time. Something that everyone can accomplish and not feel like they need to be an artisan or a crafting expert to do this. All right, so I've got some glue in there, and then see, I'm just kind of wedging this down in here and fanning it out and holding it so that it makes like a spray, sort of. See that? And once this cools, I'll attach it to the front. And see what that kind of, it's just filling in the back of that pear wilk, that's all. There we go. Now, let me come over here and glue this. There's a little spray of raffia there on the front. Oh, that's super cute. Nope, time to add another glue stick. Out of glue stick again. Now, before I put glue all over this and end up with it in places where I may not want it, just gonna make sure that I have that spray all fanned out too. It looks like it. Now I want to figure out where this is going to really kind of attach. If it's going to nestle and snug up against here, then the glue doesn't necessarily need to be behind where that raffia is. If I'm going to go up a little higher, but if I want to make it more like this and then place a shell in the middle, which might look nice too, then I do need more of the glue on the back of it itself. So put some on the back here and across the back here. And I'm just gonna let it kind of slump around and do its thing. I'm gonna attach that like that. And I'm gonna hold it. And when it's cool, I'm gonna put this shell in here like this. Or maybe this dark one. Haven't decided yet. That dark one is pretty fabulous. And it doesn't have to be a fighting conch. Put a cone there. Put a distorcio there. Whatever you want to use. Look how cute that little cone is. Oh, I want to use that maybe. I like that the best. Okay, so this should be cool. Let's take a look. Yep. Something just beeped, and I think it was my phone, but I have no idea what. All right, but either way, oh gosh, that is so beautiful. I love it. I love it. I just love it. Make sure we got all the sand out of this guy. Little bits and pieces of sand still falling out of them. Cones will do that. Okay. That's going to be great. Just like that. So, in this case, I want to add glue to both of these piece sides here and here, because that is where the cone is going to attach. And there we go. Just hold this here while it cools. And if I think it still needs something, I mean, I can always put something small over here, like a little auger or a chestnut turban or something. But I'm really kind of liking this. That would look cute with a turban on the bottom, though. Oh, yeah. Oh, I love that. And that'll do it, because I don't want to cover up that shell too much either. Again, glue around the ridge and a little bit inside. It will slump down as I attach and hold, just like this. I'll hold that guy in place. Oh man, that looks fantastic. Now we just got to get the little taper into the top of it without wrecking it. Or without ripping that little sponge, because they do want to rip a little bit. Just kind of wiggling that back and forth a little bit. See, isn't this tool great? Get it hidden in there. And there we go. It's a beautiful little candle holder. Got the taper put into it already. We'll do up the other one and take them out of the living room and maybe light them and show them off. These are gorgeous. Oh my gosh. Oh, super pretty. So I just repeated these steps for the smaller bottle and made myself a pair of them. I put a moon snail, a tulip, and a fighting conch on the shorter bottle and dressed them up beautifully with the ribbon and the raffia. I'm just thrilled with how these came out. I adore these. Oh, did you have as much fun with that as I did? There were so many cute things. Oh, boy, I'm not even sure which my favorite project was, but I'm leaning toward the clock and the little mermaid ornament. I think those are the coolest, but there was so much fun to be had in here, and there's all different kinds of ways that you can customize or modify this out to suit your own decor, your own style, your own colors, whatever you would like to do. So I encourage you to pull some of those shells out and go have some fun, make some fun little decorations for the holiday season, and then once you're out of shells again, get out there and go shelling. Thank you so much for joining us this week, and tune in next week because we are going to have ridiculous, epic, redonkulous, insane shelling at South Lido. We're going to find incredibly rare stuff, including a lion's paw, 2 Scotch bonnets, and loads more than I can tell you about here. So come on back next week and let's have some more fun.